Important thing that we need to do now, and what Jean, you and I are going to do in the Finance Committee with different reports from staff members, is really get reports back to, I want to see the programs that my family, basically your family, are paying for through our high taxes, and I want to see results. And so if it's, I don't want to see just handouts. I think for too long government in Hawaii has been the biggest giver of just handouts. And I have a friend, and as you know, I work in the homeless community, and someone told me the worst thing you can do is take away someone's dignity by doing for them what they can do for themselves. And I think for too long, Hawaii government has taken away people's dignity. And I want to see now a Hawaii government reformed and changed, where we actually look, are we helping people? Are we really, truly helping people by what we're doing? And so I'm excited. I think this is a great time to reform our government.
Kymberly, you know, I cut my teeth on the best poverty reduction program in the world, and that was the Peace Corps. They taught us not to give people fish. Of course, we didn't have any money in the Peace Corps anyway to give people fish, but to teach people to fish. And that's what we got to do in terms of getting people temporarily carried over with enough food on the table and enough shelter over their head, but then with enough education and training to teach them to be independent, because that's where the dignity you're speaking of comes from. That's where the self-worth comes from, and not being dependent on somebody else, but being independent on their own. Last thing I want to mention, which Sam mentioned, everything's on the table, including, did I say the N-word, nuclear power? That's going to cause some real reverberations in the state of Hawaii. Unheard of, but yet most people don't know that 80% of the power generated in Vermont, a very strong democratic state, is nuclear. In the country of France, 75–80% of all the energy is nuclear. It's small, it's convenient, it may not be renewable in the sense that you can probably have a nuclear reactor smaller than this room, which could light up the whole city of Honolulu for probably 25 years.
That's definitely something that is going to be an interesting conversation for all of us. And of course, we know Representative Mark Takai introduced that earlier this week. He beat everyone and got House Bill number 1.
God bless Mark Takai. He's off to Kuwait in a matter of days, and he's going to be serving us in the U.S. military as a major, but he's also serving you, the people of Hawaii, as a representative who happens to also be in the National Guard. So.
Well, we do have nuclear submarines in Hawaii, so it's not that far away from Hawaii. But anyways, let's look at the Republican caucus package. Can you guys give me some information on what we can be expecting from your package?
I would say it's all about jobs, in that we want to keep Hawaii working because we don't want anybody to lose their job. And as we mentioned earlier, we don't want to raise taxes. We don't want to have fees go up. And we've got a few bills that's going to give incentives for employers to add employees, particularly I would say the one that is the incentive to hire and keep employees is a bill that will be the opposite to shedding them and say you're going to save money. Hopefully there will be an incentive in the bills that we're introducing that will keep employees. I would say the other part of that is what I think came from the clip that Lynn Finnegan said. There's a love-hate relationship with the military. We have in our package something to embrace the military, to know that, for example, tourism gets $12 billion a year. Did you know that military spending was over $8 billion last year? Mm-hmm. And every time we have a military event, the military comes and says, you know, thank you for being such great hosts. And you know, it's like they're visitors. We have to treat them and embrace them as part of our economy. The same way we embrace Waikiki. You know, we don't always like to go to Waikiki and be with it, but it's an integral part of us. A lot of us work there. There's 18,000 people who work for the military, but we've got to get something specifically for the military. And what we've got in the package is a military industrial park. We want to get a military industrial complex the same way that the Silicon Valley has all the high-tech research, all of those on the Beltway in Washington, D.C. If we have a military industrial park for those high-tech companies that can do a 2-to-1 tax credit, in addition to having a space to do it, we can grow our own indigenously Hawaii-owned businesses to work for the military, which is an $8 billion industry, the #2 winner here. That's just something about the business. The other things about energy, I'll pass it over to my colleague,
I want to expand a little bit on the
you
military side, just to give you a personal story. In Neva Beach, where I represent, I would say about 30% are military. Another 20% are veterans, or actually I think it's higher than 20% that are veterans in our community. And just recently, one of my favorite neighbors, he retired from the military, and his whole family wants to stay in Hawaii. They're very local and into the Hawaiian way, and unfortunately, when he retired, he had to move to an East Coast state because of these military jobs, and he couldn't find one locally in Hawaii. So I really see this as a great opportunity to keep our local families here, and to keep, actually, if we have $8 billion, imagine how much we would bring into our state if we had this complex that you're talking about. And also gave some credits to companies that come here and stay here and hire the people who live here.
Yeah, one of the bills is hire local and you get a tax credit. Generally what the military does is parachute someone in, they work for a while, and then they fly out, rather than going locally. And I know we don't have the talent, because a lot of the ones who go to the mainland get the jobs, they make the money, and they don't come back home. So this is an incentive to bring them back home, give them substantial jobs, at the same time embrace the military, and have like what we got at the Pacific Missile Range on Kauai. Tremendous amount of energy and ideas that are going into for the missile defense of not only this nation, but probably all the free world, is contingent upon what's going on in Kauai. The other great thing we've got is the Pearl Harbor shipyard. Tremendous amount of employees with a lot of high technology and improvements. So hopefully we're going to be moving along with them and be able to create military high-tech businesses owned, operated by, for Hawaii businesses. Right now, I think we've got a great start. The Chamber of Commerce is doing some great things, but there's much, much more that we can do on that.
So we're strengthening our tourism, we're strengthening our military. What are we doing about this energy crisis?
We're taking 15 gallons of gasoline off the roof by saying there'll be a solar on every roof in a matter of years, because of the generous incentives that we want to put out. Actually, it's equivalent to 15 gallons of gas a day when you don't have solar on the roof, and 2/3 of you out there don't have, including me, solar on my roof. What we've got are some tax incentives to either have, as in the Pay and Save example, Hawaiian Electric will put a free solar on your roof, and the amount of money you save by having solar water heater will become your amortization payment to make your loan. There's a leasing company that's coming here. I talked to D-Bed the other day. There's one that will come and put the solar on your roof free, and then they will actually just charge you a lease, like leasing a car. There's so many ways, because of so many years we've sort of taken for granted our sun. Now is the time that we have to get serious. And Kimberly, you know, some of our colleagues, like some of us naturally, are going to fall back asleep. Gas is down to a reasonably tolerable cost, but we have got to stay alert to get renewable energy. And our package has a multiple of bills to do. The whole Hawaii Clean Energy Initiative is in here. But we've got to have the political one. In fact, people have talked to me. We've got all these things in Hawaii going for us except one thing. That's the political will. Our permitting process, we've got a section here to where instead of having it where you get one permit from one department and then you go to another after 12 months or another 18 months, we have it like the shotgun that they do in the golf tournaments. Everybody gets at a tee and starts at the same time, and then they integrate what's going on. There's so many things that we can do, but it's the political will to get off center. But my sense is these renewable energy issues will be what this session coming up is all about, except the budget. I know that's another thing we want to talk about.